"He cannot last much longer," my father was saying. Turning to Lucrezia, I put my finger to my lips. She nodded again, minding her promise. I crept closer to the door, and she pressed close behind me. "If you think you can," I heard my mother say. "I mean to become Pope at this conclave, Vanozza," my father said. The words took me by surprise, though they should not have. I was no fool, and my penchant for eavesdropping meant that most of my father's ambitions were known to me. But the finality, the conviction in his words, made me understand in a way I never had before. My father could become the Pope, the leader of all Christendom, the sacred and somewhat distant figurehead of Rome. I stole a glance at Lucrezia. Her large grey-blue eyes were wide with wonder, but bless her, she made not a sound. "I've been waiting for this moment for years," my father went on. "I must not fail." "And what of Della Rovere?" my mother asked. "If he has enough support to block your election?" "I must not fail," he repeated. "I will win Della Rovere's supporters to my side, whatever the cost." "And yet, if he—" There was a loud, sharp sound, as though the cardinal had slapped his large hand down on the lacquered wooden tabletop. "There can be no if, Vanozza," he said. "Even so," she said, her voice soft yet firm, "it does not do to underestimate one's enemies, and thus be caught unawares and unprepared." "To plan for failure is to admit it is a possibility, and once you have done that you are undone," my father said, his voice louder than before. "Everything depends on this, everything. You would plan less than the best for our children?" "Surely there are other ways for you to give them what you dream, even if—" "No," he bit out. "It is for them as much as for myself that I must succeed. You know what must happen, Vanozza. I will become Pope. Cesare shall follow me into the church, Juan shall wield the military might of the Holy See, and Lucrezia will marry to the best advantage of the family. We will become the first and greatest family in all of Italy, and no one shall dare spit on the name of Borgia ever again." My mother made some reply, but I did not hear it, nor did I care to. My father's words rang loudly in my ears. "Cesare shall follow me into the church." The words were like a death sentence to a boy who loved to ride, to wrestle, to play at sword-fighting, a boy who devoured his lessons in military history like life-giving nectar. I'd always loved the tales of the great Roman conqueror, Giulio Cesare, whose name I shared. In my mind, to be a soldier, a conqueror, was the finest occupation for a man. I was aware of the considerable power my father wielded as a man of the church, yet it was a different sort of power altogether, and not what I would have chosen for myself. And to make a soldier, a general, out of that weakling, Juan, it was too much to be borne. In one foolish moment, the culmination of my shock and anger and envy, I found myself pushing open the heavy wooden doors of the room and barging in. "Cesare," my father said in surprise. "Father, please, tell me it isn't true," I cried. "You don't truly mean to send me to the church, do you?" "Cesare, for shame," my mother scolded. "Were you listening at the door? That sort of behaviour is fit for servants, not a young nobleman." I ignored her, knowing punishment would come no matter what. Keeping my gaze fixed on my father, I pressed on. "I don't want to be a priest, Father. Make Juan go into the church and let me be your general. I can do it. I know I can. Cesare, get back to the nursery this instant," my mother said, advancing on me. "It is not your place to—" Finally my father spoke, causing her to break off mid-sentence. "This was decided long before you could even speak," he said. His tone was not angry, rather it was perfectly even. He was stating a fact, not presenting an argument. "I shall become Pope, and you shall someday become Pope after me." He stared hard at me, his usual jovial good nature gone. "Do you not wish to become a man to whom others turn for counsel, a man who accomplishes great things on behalf of Holy Mother Church? Do you not wish to make your family great?" When he spoke, it was as a man speaks to another man, not as a man to a child. I had never been spoken to in such a way before, and it did much to soothe my impetuous anger. I stood a little straighter. "I do." "Good. trust me.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.